So this particular bike was an ABS model bike, and I say was because if you look here, there should be a big ABS unit in there with the 4 pipes popping off leading to different parts of the bike. Somebody's obviously taken it out and they've connected the brake lines, meaning the front and the rear brakes are now independent and don't have ABS control. So that for me is going to make life a bit easier doing the bleed and everything else, because I won't have to mess about with this system here. This would have the wheel on it, all in place, ready for the caliper to go on and all that kind of stuff, but I'm having issues with that bolt on the left hand side.
And here's the screw and bolt I'm on about. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is crack on with stripping down the caliper and putting the new parts in it.
I'm going to pop out the old knackered little C-clip that is rusty as hell. I'm surprised it didn't just corrode off.
As the pin is rusty, I got myself a little Torx attachment. I started hitting it through with the pliers because it was the closest thing I had, but it worked, so that was a job well done.
Nice little result. Not as hard to get out as I thought, but it still needed replacing, so happy that's out now.
And naturally, with the pin out, the pads came out quite easily, so I give them a bit of a quick inspection. They're not in too bad a shape, so they will be used again. Next out was the rear brake caliper thrust spring. Then I got to work with a brake cleaning spray and spray that stuff everywhere I could.
Man! Just gonna put the silver thing in first. Pads.
Once the pads were seated, I got the nice new shiny pin and got that in before locking it off with the new clip.
You might not be able to see this, but it's tiny. Tiny and shiny. Oh yeah. So that's the caliper, new pin, brake pads are fine. It's got a new little clip on the end there. It sits nice and lovely, to be fair. So just looking forward to getting that back on once I can get that bolt sorted on the left hand side. I hope I don't have to buy 2 more new bolts, because that's going to be hefty.
Making a start on the front of the bike, I remove the retaining clip.
Nice and easy. So I'm going to take the caliper off now. Hopefully using the trusty 8mm Allen key. Oh my god, that was nice and easy. Brute force and ignorance wins every time, doesn't it? Anyway, that's that done. So I've also got a new rubber thing for this because that's wrecked. In fact, I couldn't get it off before. I got a new one, so I might as well damage it. Look at that. Wrecked, mate. Oh, look at that. That's orange. Disgusting, but I got a brand new one right here. Last thing you want is a braking system failing, so I don't understand how people leave that kind of thing happen to their brakes, man. This is what saves you when stuff starts going wrong, so you should look after them. This screw here is getting in the way of me taking this, sort of just moving out of the way so I can bring the caliper around so that I can got a bit more free play with it, and you know, the ability to just twist it around, clean inside, all that kind of stuff. Whoever's been in there previously, or been on this previously, has done something to this screw. They've rounded it basically, and it feels like they've hit something in there a bit bigger, just to either tighten it or loosen it. It's the same on the other side, which is really annoying because these things don't cost a lot of money. You know, you may as well, if you've knackered them up, just buy new ones and replace them, and you know, it gives the next person a chance then. I was faced with this before basically when I had a KTM 65, I bought it for my nephew, so I thought I'd do the clutch thing, and I was met with 6 bolts that had been rounded inside, or screws rather, on the clutch basket, and just frustrating because I had to grind the damn things out because you just couldn't get anything in there to pull them out. So that's where we're at with this now. So I've got to order a new screw and a new bolt for that back swing arm, as I showed you earlier on. The reason is I can't get it off, and you probably wouldn't notice it, but the bike is a bit further forward, I think, in the garage. It's definitely a bit of a different angle because this thing just come off the stand. It broke my table, and my brother subsequently has now injured his back because we had to pick the damn bike up. I'll put a little video of it going at the end if you want, just to show you. But frustrating nonetheless. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but that's knackered. Now that I've removed it from inside there, I've got the flexibility to just have a look inside, and in all fairness, it's looking really good in there. The seals look really good. It doesn't look too dirty in there, so I don't know if it's had a clean previously. No, it probably hasn't, in all fairness. The pot's a little bit rusty, to be fair, but I'm going to give it all a clean now and then start putting everything back together. I wish I could replace these bolts, but I don't know what size they are, and I can't find them anywhere for sale, so they're going to stay where they are for the time being.
And rusty bolts aside, it was time to start spraying the brake cleaner in, getting the brush in there, and then getting the pads and fitting those in. Then it was time for another shiny new pin. A bit of gentle persuasion to get it resting in its final place. And then a new retaining clip. Now, it would have been rude not to replace the bolts that hold the caliper on, so I got some brand new shiny ones, and here they are going in.
So it's quite nice seeing these shiny parts already, and it's just a shame I couldn't find replacement screws for here. The ones I could find for the discs weren't very nice, to be fair. They probably would have corroded again in a few weeks after being out on a salty road. But what I have found is this. I've got a replacement for one of these, so I'm going to change that over now as well. Should you actually need a breaker bar to undo this, I just I'm going to have a look for the torques on it, but that's just obscene. Absolute state on that. There's copper grease on it, but there's also a lot of rust. Shiny one going in. And I'll torque that up when I'm torquing everything else up. Hopefully this comes off alright, but we've got an 11mm spanner going in. Oh, there we go. And I got a nice shiny one going back in.
I repeated the same process on the right hand brake caliper, and when both were complete I moved to the top and started removing the screws off the brake fluid cap.
So now that I've got my gloves on, I can just open this up. I've not looked in here before. It's got the classic rubber thing on top. I can never remember what they're called. I'll put that somewhere safe so that it doesn't fall on the floor and pick up dirt. Now the top of it says .4 brake fluid, and that's exactly what I've got. And I've got a lot of it as well because I need to do the other bikes as well. So I'm going to top this up so it's quite full.
So I started pumping the brake, and now it's starting to get rid of this dirty cloudy stuff and it's bringing through the clear stuff. So a few more cycles and I think it'll be good to go.
So I've done another cycle with the brake fluid, and I've just pumped it through so that it's halfway across the eye there, which is to the right level basically. I've gone down, checked in the little pot, and all the fluid that's going through the pipe from the brake caliper is nice and clear. So I locked off the nut, I come up here, I've checked the lever, and it is absolutely solid. That's just the way I like my brakes, and that one-man bleed kit is absolutely worth every penny.
So with the bleed sorted, I've just got on to sticking the screws back in the cap. I gave them one last tighten each just to make sure everything is good in a crisscross fashion before calling it a day.
I'm at the point now then where I can't do anything else with the front braking system. I've got a nice bite on the front brake lever, I've got new bolts holding the calipers in, I've got new pins holding the pads in, and I've got new clips holding the pins in. I've also flushed through all that old orange brake fluid with some clear stuff. The bite is just really good, so I'm pleased with where that is, and I'll be happy that when I do the rear brake that will have a good bite on it as well. And obviously that one-man bleed kit is fantastic for doing the job. So I'll bring this video to a close. Thanks very much for watching. I'll bring you a new video next Sunday. Oh.